Okay, you guys, so we are in week 2 of our 6-week bootcamp series, and tonight we are talking about connecting both online and offline. And I had a couple of people that I thought were going to be able to join me, but life happens, and so I'm going to do the call solo tonight. But just as a review for those of you who are hopping on for the first time or are going to listen later on in podcast time or recorded time, we wanted to have a 6-week series of what we're calling this kind of back to basics boot camp, that if someone gets started with isogenics, that this is where everybody can start. Or if you've been doing it for a while and you just kind of want a refresher, that this is where you can start. And so as we're bringing new people on, whether they got enrolled yesterday or a week from now or a year from now, some of the foundations, some of the skill set to being a network marketing professional in terms of understanding the law of attraction or personal development or overcoming objections or connecting or your company history, all of that's going to be the same. And we thought that if we had 6 solid calls, someone could listen to like 1 call a day, and in a week, have so much underneath their belt, or 1 call a week, and in a month, they would feel, more confident going into this. And so that was really the vision of the 6-week boot camp. And in week 1, we talked about the company history and just gave an overview of the Cougars. We gave an overview of Johnny Anderson and just some of the statistics of the company. And tonight, we want to talk about the connecting. And I do some, small group coaching, and always this comes up. What do I say to people? What do I say that I do? What do I message them? How do I talk to someone that's in my cold market? And so I wanted to spend the first part of the call kind of talking about connecting offline. And what I mean by that is in person, actually talking to people and getting away from hiding behind our smartphones or hiding behind our computers. And then we're going to move into how do we connect online, through different groups or different Facebook messengers. And you guys, I know I have a tendency to talk fast, so I'm going to just kind of throw it out there that if I'm saying things that it's like, oh my gosh, that was good, and I want to be able to hear that again, you can always go back and record. You can always go back and rewatch it and hear it. And then the best way to learn, obviously, is to practice, and then you start doing it. So a lot of people like to do belly-to-belly meetings, and I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on that. Whoever is the Samsung, it looks like you're outside your house. Will you turn off your camera? You're just making us all a little bit dizzy. I'm not sure who that is, but if you could turn your video off, that would be awesome. Thank you. Sorry. I'm like, if you're like moving around and stuff, Erica, maybe the same thing too. You guys are going to make us all like motion sickness. You could just turn off your video if you're not staying put.
Set this inside.
So anyways, when I think about, some people really, really like to do belly-to-belly meetings. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because usually those people have reached out, right? Usually those people have, said to you like, hey, I want to know more about this. And that's a whole different training and how to give a presentation. But what I want to focus on is when you sit by someone on a plane, when you get in a Lyft or Uber, when you have a great waitress, when you have a great esthetician, one of those, what are the things that you're saying? What are those kind of initial steps? So when I'm connecting offline and to my cold market, I use a script that comes from Eric Worre. A lot of this is in GoPro. You can read the book or you can download the Audible. But it more or less is like, I'm in a hurry. Like, you want to state that so you're not expected to give a presentation on the spot, right? That like you're going to be brief. It kind of gives you permission to be vague, or it's giving you permission to be a little bit terse if you're fast paced. Then you compliment them. So there's a reason why you want to talk to this person about isogenics. There's a reason you have a calling to reach out to them. And then you state the purpose. And so, for example, if I had a great waitress, that say that she, handled all of our food allergies, she gave us great customer service, she was fun, she was personable, any of those things, I might say, hey, I know you're really busy and we're actually on our way out. However, you were amazing. Like, you paid attention to all of our high maintenance needs. You were super fun. I've never seen anybody multitask like you. I'm like, you would be perfect at what I do. I'm always recruiting for my health and wellness business. I would love to share more of it with you. If it's okay, I'd love to connect on Facebook. I'd love to grab your name and number, and I'll get in touch with you later on this week. And so you state you're in a hurry, or that they might be in a hurry. You compliment, and then you're asking for their information. So the same thing, if you get into a Lyft car, if you get into an Uber car, and I usually start to ask questions like, how long have you been doing this? What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Because I'm setting up my pitch to them, why they started doing it, because they're going to say things like, well, I like that it's flexible, or I like that I can work when I want, but I need supplemental income because I have debt, or my other job isn't paying enough, or I'm saving up for a vacation, or they're planting it for you. And then close to when you get to your drop off, I'll just say, well, hey, I know I'm almost at my destination, but I was listening to your story and you're so hardworking. I know that you've got big dreams. If there was a way that you could earn the same income or more from your home without driving all over the state, is this something that you'd be interested in? I'd love to share with you with what I do. I think you can earn the same income without driving all over the place. And reiterate the things you like. You're still going to meet people. It's still really flexible. There's still a lot of freedom, right? Like really kind of pour that into them. But that whole thing is that you're in a hurry, you compliment and you do it. Now, a lot of you are going, well, what happens next? What happens after you get the number? Because you can get the number and then you're like, what do I say to them next? And I'm going to give you one more example and then kind of take you down that path of progression. But Kathy Coover, you guys, if you guys have never seen her video, like how to be a master connector, you can Google that. It's really awesome. It's really fun. But she would go to places, like when she was building her business, and she was in the field, she would go into like Estee Lauder or something like that and have someone do her makeup. And she would be like, oh my gosh, you're so good at this. You must make a ton of money, And they would be like, well, thanks, but not really. She's like, well, if you want to learn how to make a ton of money, I'd love to show you. Like, it was that simple, People are like, okay, you can do this anywhere. And I've always had this saying in my head, and I got it from Jeff Combs, that you want to have more leads, than you do time. Like you don't want to have enough, you want to have so many leads that you don't even have the time to call all of them. So just constantly be collecting people's stories. I mean, I do it on planes. When I sit by people, I'm like, oh my gosh, you are so fun. I'd love to stay in touch with you. Do you have a Facebook account? And sometimes it just means adding people into your network, because then they see when you post transformations, or they see when you post a seasonal shake or whatever it is. And all of a sudden they go, hey, you probably don't remember me, but we sat by each other on a plane. And can you tell me more about pina colada? Like things like that will happen. So you're always just building your network and building your base. So then this is usually how it goes. So let's say, I talked to that waitress. She's like, oh my gosh, I'd love to know what you do. Gives me her name and number and everything. So a day or two later, I might text her and just say, hey, Brooke, it's Lauren. It was so fun to meet you the other night. I told you I was going to reach out with you about my health and wellness business. When are some times that work for you to chat or something like that? When do you have 5 or 10 minutes that we can hop on the phone? And I usually don't like to send a video or necessarily an ATM or add them to the groups until I talk to them, because I really don't know what they want. And if I start sending information before I've chatted with them, I'm being really assumptive of what I think they need before they tell me what they need. So I try to set up the phone or go to coffee. And then there's a series of questions. And you guys, I actually have a document in our Dreamers in Action page that's like prospecting questions that came from Jeff Combs. I know a lot of people on Alexis Romano's team use it. If you're wondering how to do that, how to do these discovery questions. But this is where it's really important to just make sure that you're being authentic and you don't necessarily have an outcome in mind, but you're literally getting to know them. Because you might get on the phone and think that this person would be a rock star in your business, but all of a sudden they tell you they've got diabetes and they, are so overweight and they've been looking for a solution and all they want is the health, right? And you're going to have to switch gears a little bit. So I will hop on the phone with them and, be like, Brooke, like, how's your week going? I just want to build rapport with her the same way if I got on the phone with any of you. Like, if my sister called me, she wouldn't just like all of a sudden tell me like whatever her problem was. She'd be like, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Did you do anything this weekend? Well, hey, I had a question for you about. So do the same thing with your people. So like, how was your day? How was the rest of your restaurant, the weekend at the restaurant or whatever it is. And say, well, if you remember, I told you a great customer service, you paid attention to detail. And if it's okay, I'd love to just kind of get to know you before I tell you more about it. Like this is going to be a two-way conversation if I'm a good fit for you and if you're a good fit for me. Like I kind of like to plant that seed, and I'll say on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at with your health? You know, do you feel like you could run around your house naked? You're confident, you know, in your body. Do you sleep like a baby? Do you have tons of energy? Do you crash in the afternoon? Do you feel like you're addicted to sugar and caffeine? Are you ideal size? Do you recover from the gym you want? I mean, I start to ask questions. What's your sleep like? They're telling me, and I'm taking notes, right? Taking notes as we're on the phone. Say, awesome. What about your financial health? You know, are you traveling to the places that you want to, or the places that you can afford? You know, do you feel like you're working for somebody else or working for yourself? Are you getting paid what you're worth? Are you carrying debt? What would it feel like to be debt free? What would it feel like to not clock in and clock out? Have you ever heard of passive or residual income? Starting to ask questions. Can you imagine what $200 or $500 a week would do for your family? Then I say, I always love to get to know people, you know, and I ask kind of just audacious questions because it's fun to dream big. If time and money were of no issue, what would you be doing? Right? And most people are like, you know, I'm like, I'm just curious. Like, if time and money were of no issue, what would you be doing? And get them to paint that picture so detail oriented that they can taste it, they can smell it, they can feel it, they can hear it. You know, they're already glued into that. And then ask permission to tell your story. Well, if it's okay, I'd love to tell you a little bit about my story. I'd love to share with you a little bit how I got introduced to you, and then we'll go from there, right? Then you tell your 30-second story, and sometimes you can close people on the spot, right? And if other people start saying, oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, can you send me more information? That might be the point that you add somebody to the testimonials page, you add somebody to our opportunity page, you set up an ATM. So for example, real life situation, I met a girl, her name is Sarah. She was a Lyft driver of mine on Friday night, right? Got in the car. How long have you been driving for Lyft? A few months. Do you like it? Yeah, it's really flexible. I get to meet a lot of people all the time. Is there anything you don't like about it? Well, I'm in the car a lot. I'm putting a lot of miles on my car. You know, sometimes I'm just really tired at the end of the day. I get it. Is the main reason you're doing it for money? Yes. Right now I'm a paid student. I work full time in a research lab, so I need something besides my student loans, right? And I'm like, she's planting the seeds for me. Where do you go to school? I found out she was a little bit older to be an undergrad. So I was like, oh, did you take time off after high school? And she goes down this whole thing, how she was in the army in Iraq and this hip injury that she has, you guys. And I'm just sucked in at this point. Like, honestly, like, everybody has a story. I'm like, dang, like, how many people get in her car and know that she served our country for 10 years? Now I'm praising her. I'm like, thank you for doing that. Thank you for your service. You know, like, what type of research are you in? She's studying infectious diseases, right? Like, she is still protecting our country and doing things for the best of us. So I'm super impressed with her, genuinely. And I'm about to get out. And I just said, wow. And I was like, you blew my mind. And I said, I have an amazing health and wellness business. We too love to help other people, but I'm confident I can show you how to make this same income without driving all over the state. I'd love to get your name and number. Let's go to coffee this week. I'll tell you more about it. We connected on Facebook. I got her name and number. Okay, this was Friday. I texted her Sunday and I said, hey, Sarah, it's Lauren. I was in your Lyft on Friday night. I told you I would call you. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you did. I've been really curious what this is all about. So we set a time to go to coffee. We sat down. We spent about 45 minutes together this morning. And I did exactly what I just told you guys. You know, we talked to her. Said, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at with your health? Is there any weight you'd like to lose? Would you rather have more energy? How do you sleep? How do you carry stress? Like, you know, getting to all of these things. Then we talked about her financial situation. What's her cash flow like? What's the debt to income ratio of, you know, student loans? Places that she really wants to travel, like, you know, what it means to, you know, have an impact or a legacy company. Then I said, can I tell you my story and how I, you know, got involved and why I love this so much? And we left it with, I'm going to send you some information so you can look it over, talk to your boyfriend, and we'll be in touch. So I left. I added her to testimonials, I added her to opportunity, and I did an ATM with a couple people and like told her story, what, you know, reservations she had. Michelle can tell you this is a complete true story because she's in that ATM, you know, with this girl, and we'll see what happens. And she might say no. She might not say not now. She might sign up tomorrow. But it's the point that you share your story, right? And you are caring about other people, and we're talking about Isagenix, about what it can do for them. You know, of course I'm building this business, you guys, and if I stop connecting, my cycles are going to go down. But in that present moment, I'm not sitting there, you know, trying whatever I have to do to force her to buy a value pack. You know, I'm not sitting there wondering if this is going to jump my cycles or this is going to help me rank advance. I'm sitting there thinking, on a Tuesday morning, I'm in my yoga pants, and I was able to meet a coffee in the middle of the day because I have residual income from this amazing company that has blessed my life, helped me get out of my student loans, helped my sister get out of my student loans. And who the heck am I to not be paying this forward and sharing it with other people? Like, that's my mindset. And people know that. Like, the number one thing that she said to me was like, I don't do pyramid schemes. She's like, but your energy is infectious. She's like, your energy is making me pay attention to this because I can tell how passionate you are. That's what she said to me. She knows I'm not in it for the sale. I can see a vision for her life that she doesn't see for herself. And sometimes when you're connecting, that's all you have to do is put on the rose-colored glasses that they're not wearing yet of the Isagenix lens and talk to them about what their life can look like. Describe to them how they're going to feel. Describe to them what life is going to look like when a change in income happens. So I'm going to transition here into online connecting and being really intentional with your prospecting. And then I'm going to open it up for some questions. So just, if you've got some, kind of hang tight for a little bit here. So here's the thing that I would encourage people not to do. I know a lot of people want scripts. A lot of people are, hoping that I can just tell you exactly what to say. And if you go into Dreamers in Action, you can literally search private messages, or private messages are gold, scripts, and you're going to find a lot of things that, it's a guideline, and then you can tweak it and make it your own. But I want you to ask yourself, before you ever send something, would I respond to that? Would I respond to that? And I'm inundated, you guys, especially on LinkedIn, by companies like Genesee and Rodan Fields and Young Living. And I can tell within the first 2 sentences what company it is because I've had it so many times and they're all saying the same things. I'm like, really? Really? Like, did you look at my profile? Did you do anything to figure out who you were talking to and like why I would do this? And you can tell they're just sending the same thing to many, many people every single day. And to some extent, it must be working because they're still doing it. Otherwise, they're just burning through their list and not building rapport. And I would encourage you guys not to do that, right? So when you're connecting online, number one, just like you would on the phone, actually talk to people. Like, hey, how are you? Like, you popped up in my newsfeed. I haven't seen you in forever. Like, what's been going on? What's new? Ask questions, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, the kids are out of school. We're getting ready to go to a family reunion in California next week or whatever. And ultimately, they're going to ask you what you've been up to. You're like, oh my gosh, things are great. Like, I'm having so much fun with my tech business, but I'm also really passionate right now about my health and wellness business. My husband and I lost a ton of weight earlier this winter, and we've just been having so much fun sharing it with other people. We're ready for some barbecues this summer. Like, things are good, right? And it might be that they say, cool, that's awesome for you guys. Well, thanks for reaching out. And the conversation kind of goes away, right? It might be that they say, well, oh my gosh, well, tell me about that. How'd you guys lose weight? Or what have you been doing, right? Then you go into it, but you're having a conversation. Now, let's say that they don't ask you more information. They just kind of say, okay, cool, that was good for you. Thanks for reaching out. One of the things I like to do at that point is keep the conversation going just a little bit, but before you end it, just say, hey, it's been really fun to catch up, but as I shared with you, I'm super passionate about the transformation I experienced, and I'm in love with helping other people. If you ever know of anyone looking for a solution, I would love a warm introduction. Nothing excites me more right now than paying this forward. You've just planted the seed to ask for referrals, because then what's going to happen the next day is that person's going to go to work and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm in this wedding and I don't want to be the fat bridesmaid, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, you should call my friend. She was just talking about some weight loss thing, right? They're going to be like, hey, this girl at work has a wedding that she's going to be in. Can you help her? That stuff will happen, but you have to open up the channels that that's something that's going to be able to happen. Does that make sense? The other is when I think about intentionally recruiting, right? Intentionally reaching out to people. The same applies for the offline script as the online script, where you're in a hurry, you compliment them, and you state the purpose. So let's say Michelle Bina is showing up in my newsfeed like crazy, and I see that she's running, and I see that she's done these half marathons, and I'm like, man, she would probably love the amped line. And I would be like, hey, Michelle, how are you? And she'd be like, oh, I'm tired. I just got off 14-hour shift in the hospital. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do that, right? And we chat a little bit. This is going to happen over 30 seconds. And I would just be like, well, hey, I know you're probably super busy with all the kids, and I'm actually out the door to a meeting right now, but I wanted to reach out because I see how fit you are. I see that you're like running more than I want to drive. And I thought about you because I use a specific sports nutrition line that has changed my workouts both during and after. And I really think you should check it out. Let me know when you have a good time to talk, and you give 2 times. Or if you're at all interested, I'd love to send you some more information. Or if you're at all interested, let's hop on the phone later on today or tomorrow. You guys can all do this. You can reach out to 10 people in an hour if you're really efficient with your time, right? And then, people start to reply back. One of the things that I see people do is send it all before they've replied. So for example, if I was like, hey, Michelle, how are you? And she doesn't write back, it gets kind of like a tennis match or like a ping pong match, right? So I hit it, they got to hit it back. Then I hit it, they got to hit it back. If she doesn't reply back, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, hey, blah, and all of a sudden she opens up her Facebook Messenger and is like, wow, you just verbal vomited all through my text message. Like, she's turned off, right? So if she doesn't respond the next day, I'm like, hey, Michelle, I lose so many Facebook messages. I don't know if you saw that I messaged you. How are you? Right? Just bump it back up. Like, it's a legitimate thing. How many of you guys have lost a Facebook message? We immediately tell a story in our head. They're not interested. They think they're selling them. They think I'm bugging them. They don't even know why you reached out. All you said was, hey, how are you? Right? But we create that in our head, and you're like, oh my gosh, no one's responding to me. I'm like, did you say anything to them? So then she's like, oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, I totally saw it, but I was making dinner last night. I forgot about it. How's it going? Ping pong ball came back, right? Then you pick up where you left off. Hey, well, I reached out yesterday because I saw you just finished your run, blah, 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 right? And if Michelle was to say, thanks for reaching out, but, I'm really not interested in it. I'm, kind of being all natural and, I don't really do a lot of stuff. You say, that's cool. Say, if it's okay, I'd love to even just add you to this page. You can be a fly on the wall. You can see some testimonials. I think you're going to be shocked at the results people are getting. People remind me just like you, people are okay with it, like, you're just guiding them through it. Or you might say, totally, I get it. If you happen to see anybody in your run group or the people you train with using things like Gatorade, using Cliff gel blocks, like, if you would be willing to even like mention my name or mention that I have an all natural solution, I'd love an introduction. I used to do stuff like that all the time. I feel so much better with putting the best nutrition in my body. I really want to help as many people as I can, right? Again, now you have reverted into referrals because people are going to do more for other people than themselves. That person might not be ready yet, but they might go, oh my gosh, Kristen was drinking Gatorade. I told her about you. She totally wants your number. Is it okay if I put you two in touch? You're planting the seed for that. So you're using that same script of, I'm in a hurry, you're complimenting them and you're stating the purpose. So let's say that I saw a post from Rachel that was like, does anybody know of anybody looking to hire? I'm looking for a part-time job. Who's seen that post on Facebook? You guys have all seen it. Someone's asking for a connection, So I'll immediately message that person. I'm not commenting on there. I'm not like, here's a link to my website or here, join my network marketing business. That's obnoxious, right? But I email or private message Rachel. I'm like, hey girl, how are you? I saw your post. You're looking for part-time income. She's going to say, oh my gosh, do you know of anything? I'm going to say yes, and you're perfect for it. It can be part-time. It's flexible. It's in the perfect hours. You love people. When can we chat for a few minutes? I can show you what this looks like, right? You're getting on the phone. But this all is your posture, your credibility, and your certainty that you have the best thing you're offering them. When you're in your head and you're like, oh my gosh, what do I say next? And I don't know how to bring it up. You are making it about you. And this is not about you. This is about what you are doing for other people. We are a messenger for Isagenix. We're a messenger for the Cougars. They came out to build this company. We've all been blessed by it. That's why you guys are on this call. And now we're a messenger to find other people that are looking for our solutions, to find other people that want a transformation physically or financially or both. Okay. And I will tell you, the people that are struggling to connect versus the people that are just out talking to people left and right, it has to do with the certainty that they know they are giving away a gift, the certainty that Isagenix is incredible, both with the products and with the business, and they are unattached to the outcome. So remember, if someone says no or not now, they're not saying no to you. They just aren't ready for Isagenix, right? They're afraid to start another thing. They don't have the money. They want to watch you do it for a while. They want to see other things, you know, like just keep dripping, just keep dripping. And the last thing I'm going to just kind of leave with this before I open it up for questions is after you reach out to someone in a private message, keep that relationship going. Keep, you know, it going, that then there's an appropriate time to follow up. So let's say right now, you know, someone told me no. So then I might, you know, in a week or something say, hey, did you see, I've got a bunch of girls that we're all going to go to Cycle Bar on Saturday. Like, if you want to come, you should come. Like, it'd be super fun. We're going to go to brunch afterwards. Has nothing to do with Isagenix, okay? Just building trust, just building rapport, just being a good human. Then maybe in a couple weeks, I say, hey, I'm hosting a health and wellness event. Super fun, great community, great networking. We are going to talk a little bit about the Isagenix products, but you come check it out. You can sample it. You can try some stuff. If it's not for you, no biggie. You can still have a glass of wine and meet a few people along the way, right? Maybe she comes. Maybe she signs up. Maybe she doesn't. No problem, right? So the following week, I'm like, oh my gosh, your pictures were so cute from the kids at the pool. Like, I can't believe how big they're getting, you know? Have a conversation. Maybe the following week, I'm like, hey, I don't know if you saw my Facebook post, but Peach Mango just came out. And if you don't even want to do a whole system, but you just want to try a shake, I thought about you. They're amazing. I'm just reaching out to people I know. Like, you're dripping, you're following up, you're still being passionate, but it can't be like every, you know, week, all you do is talk about Isagenix. All you do is talk about Isagenix. All you do is talk about Isagenix. That's when you are going to bug people. And that's when they're going to feel like all you're doing is trying to get a sell. You can bring up Isagenix again, but you want to build a relationship in between. So the same way that if I, you know, called my good friend Ashley and I was like, hey, I'm going to go out tonight and meet a friend for a drink. Do you want to come? And she's like, no, dude, my dad's been in town all weekend. I'm tired. I need to not go out tonight. Okay, cool. It's not like I'm never going to ask her again, right? On Saturday, I'm going to be like, hey, you want to go to sushi with us? And she's like, no, I just got back from Italy. Like, I need to not spend money right now. Okay. I mean, I've been hanging out with her all the time, right? For years. I'm not going to stop asking her because she said no a couple times, you know? And then all of a sudden, like a week from now or 2 weeks from now, she's like, hey, I just got paid. You want to go to the mall? I'm like, okay, we'll go to the mall. Like, it's just, you cannot expect what people are going to do and when they're going to do it and why they're going to do it or anything like that, that you just want to be consistent. If there's anything I can tell you is consistent in your connections, consistent in your follow-ups, consistent in your brand, consistent in your message, you know, consistent in your belief that we are with the best company, with the best products, with the best compensation plan, at the best timing. That is what's going to draw people into you. I mean, the amount of people that will reach out to me randomly that are like, hey, can you tell me more about that? Or, hey, I'm ready to do the 30-day. I'm like, these people come from, that the way that energy works and the law of attraction is like what you focus on, you find, or it will find you. So when you are trying to enroll a couple people and you might reach out to 10 or 20 people, you might get 10 or 20 no's, but out of nowhere, someone who's not even on your list shows up and calls you. It's inevitable. So when you're consistent with sharing the story, you know, and connecting both online and offline, you will see, you will attract people in. You will have people just naturally gravitating to you. So the last thing that I want to just remind you with connecting is be authentic, be truthful. So often people embellish or exaggerate or make it more than what it is, right? If you've only lost 10 pounds, you don't have to say you lost 50. If you've only made a couple $100s with Isagenix, don't cast the vision like right now you are the Isagenix millionaire. Play in your lane. You can use other people's stories for room of inspiration. You know, a lot of you are like, I haven't built a business. I can't do this. Use someone's story. In the very beginning, I was like, I've never sold anything. I've never been in network marketing. But if Emily Baver can do it, if Kelly Dickerhoof can do it, if Kayla Kraft can do it, I can do it. I'm going to do exactly what these girls did. You want to lock arms with me? I'm going to the top. You coming with me or are you waiting? I mean, that was my posture. I had no freaking clue what I was doing, but I sure as heck wasn't running around telling people I was making 6 figures when I was cycling 1 or 2 times a week. And the same as with the products. You know, if you still have crappy sleep, don't tell people you're sleeping like a baby. Talk about other things, you know? Like, I don't lie and say I have a weight loss story with Isagenix. I have great cleanse days and I'll post about that. But I don't run around and do that. But I talk about my energy. I talk about my mood. I talk about my mental clarity. I talk about my focus, my stamina, my recovery. I mean, there's so many things. But I can use Michelle Bena's story for weight loss. You know, I can use Laura Lori's story for weight loss. I can use Ken Trimble's story for sports performance or Chris Marshall's story. I mean, be a master story collector, get to know people. And if you guys don't know people on the team, private message them. Say, hey, can you tell me your story? I'm trying to gather some stories on the team. I want to know. Some of you guys don't know that Kristen Ronovic used Isogenics for years without ever cleansing because she was either pregnant or nursing. You know, most people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that certain people have never done ionics because they have a kiwi allergy or, you know, something crazy. I mean, get to know it. But I just think it's so important that when you are connecting, that you're just telling the truth and that you're being authentic and you're being yourself. Like, you all have to attract your own group, your own tribe. And I always think about connecting that when you walk in to a restaurant, sometimes, like, let's say you're going to sit at the bar, like a community table, for whatever reason, you don't want to sit by somebody. You walk up and immediately you're like, I'm going to sit on the other side. They didn't say anything to you. You didn't say it, and you just feel something that's like, I don't want to sit there. You've done it at a movie theater. You've done it at a restaurant. You've done it at church, somewhere, somehow, right? Or the opposite. You've gone, I want to sit by this person. Why? Right? Like, that is an energy that people put out. And we all have like positive wavelengths. We all have negative wavelengths in terms of if we are focusing on gratitude and thankfulness and we're, you know, happy and we're in love or we're appreciative or we're, you know, all of those things. But when you are guilty, when you're negative, when you're comparing, when you're anxious and you're depressed, like all of those things put different energy out. We can feel those from other people and they can feel it from you. But outside of the negative and the positive, because you guys have heard me say this over and over and over, you are either a shield or a magnet, not both at any given point, you know, and that's why it's so important to do personal development. It's so important to get in the right state, because you are either going to be a shield to people or you're going to be a magnet to people. People are going to be drawn to you and they don't even know why, or they're going to repel away from you no matter how perfect of a script you have, because the wrong energy is out there. But the other piece of this is that we all attract in different types of people. Right? We don't date the same type of people. So why do you think our Isogenics businesses are going to be the same? Mine and my sister's teams have totally different vibes. Jen and Laura's teams have totally different vibes. Kisa and Michelle Bina's teams have totally different vibes. They are absolutely all successful. They're all amazing leaders, but the same way their husbands all look totally different. Their group of friends look totally different. The way they dress is totally different. The activities they like to do for fun are totally different. We all get to vibe with total different tribes. And so often when they're like, I don't know what to say, or I need to hear that again, or I need to do what she said, I'm not going to be Jessica Rigner. I tried. It doesn't work. I don't have the wit. I don't have the grit. I don't have some of the sarcasm that she has. And Jessica's going to attract in a whole lot of people that she jives with, which is different than me. And that, when you get to the connecting, is try to just be you. And meet friends the way you would meet a friend. Get to know someone like you were going to be on a first date with someone, and just trust that there is an abundance of people out there, you guys, an abundance of people that are ready to say yes to Isogenics. We just have to find them, and there is enough to go around for everybody. You know, there's not a scarcity. It's not like we've burned through the bridges and everybody knows about Isogenics. Everybody's on Isogenics. I mean, there are millions of people ready to join Isogenics. So just figure out your way. Come from the heart, you know, not the head. And then the last thing, I've said that like 3 times, but I'm getting excited if you can't tell, is just remember to be inspirational, not informational. A lot of times people will freeze up because they feel like they have to know everything. Don't. You have to know your story. You have to know how you feel, not what's in it. People are going to be drawn to the fact that you're like, I don't know, but I'm waking up before my alarm clock with a ton of energy and all my pants are too big, right? That's way more exciting than it's undenatured and it's grass-fed and it's third-party tested. Like, people don't necessarily want to know. And if they start asking a lot of questions, then be able to get them the right information. But in the process of just connecting, it's fun, it's lighthearted, and they're going to be drawn to your vibe. They're going to be drawn to your story. They're going to be drawn to what lights you up, what ignites you, what makes you passionate, and not just the ingredients, not just the facts. Okay, so we have a few minutes left, and I'm sure you guys have questions. So if you either want to talk to me about something online or offline, or anything like that, follow up, this is your guys' shout out. And I'm not going to stop the recording. I did it on week 1, and Michelle messaged me afterwards that some of the good happened in the recording. So nobody swear if we unmute the lines and you guys start talking. Can somebody say something? Otherwise, we're going to end this call, and then you're all going to like text me like 8 times.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Christina.
So I just came from UIA, and David was literally just saying how to connect with people. He obviously makes you like hug everybody and find common ground, and that feeling of just like connecting with people and hugging people. I've been hugging more people in the last few days that I've been back, and just connecting with people. Like, it's just been so life-changing. I just wanted to just say that briefly.
That's awesome. Good job. I forgot you went to that. That's awesome.
And just being authentic about it, right? And so it just like brings you connected with people. It's just awesome. It was really cool.
Good for you. Thank you for sharing that.
I've already did calls today. I had a like sushi date today. Like, it has me on fire, girlfriend. I'm just on one right now.
Yay! Bring people to the health and wellness event a week from Thursday.
I would love that.
Okay. Yay. Anybody else have any comments or anything you want to say or add?
Hey, I just wanted, can you hear me or am I echoey?
We can hear you, Erica.
Okay, sorry. My friend today, she's kind of been watching me since I started, and today she joined in, and sometimes it just takes them watching and seeing. And then she's like, I should have started when you started. I'm mad at myself that I waited. So it's pretty exciting. And then just that feeling you get when somebody wants the help. And just, I mean, I've never wanted to sell her, but I appreciate this, and I appreciate being able to listen while I'm finishing my route.
You're so welcome, and I appreciate you multitasking, and thanks for sharing that. And it's just timing for people, but the kudos to you is you have been consistent on your social media with using the products, which, you know, talking about it and things like that, and when she finally was ready, you were the person that she thought about. And that's the importance of like keeping the light on in your store. Because had you stopped talking about it or stopped posting, she could have gone to somebody else. Been like, well, I saw it work for Erica, but maybe she stopped doing it. So I'm going to call Crystal or whoever, you know?
Right.
So good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or any comments? Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for hopping on. I'll get this recording up within the next 24 hours, and hopefully there's value in it for, you know, people just figuring out what to say and how to be themselves. Thank you guys so much for being a part of week 2. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. You're welcome.
Thanks.